This week's U.S. Supreme Court ruling lifts the cap on the total amount of money individuals can give to federal candidates, leading to questions about corruption and free speech. iNewsSource reporter Joe Uriarty is here with how the ruling might impact local campaigns. Joe, when it comes to dollars, actual dollars, how much more money can be contributed after this ruling?
Well, under the old limit, individuals could give a maximum of about $123,000 to all federal candidates and political parties in a single election cycle. Yesterday, the Supreme Court struck down that cap, saying that it was an unconstitutional violation of free speech.
So essentially, people could, in overall campaigns, give as much money as they want.
Yes, in what's called the aggregate, they can give as much as they want. The Supreme Court did leave intact individual limits per campaign. So an individual donor can still only donate up to $2,600 per each campaign.
Okay, each campaign donation per person.
That's right.
Okay, I see. How could it affect elections, or could it, I should say, in San Diego and California?
Well, probably not that much in terms of local and statewide offices. That's because neither the state of California nor the city and county of San Diego had this sort of total overall campaign limit. They do, just like at the federal level, have that per individual, per campaign limit, though.
So that still stands. So that means I'm guessing that the impact could actually be felt on the 52nd congressional race.
That's right, and that is, of course, the House race between Democrat Scott Peters and Republican Carl DeMaio. It could be affected probably in two ways. First of all, now that this overall limit has been struck down, if there's a wealthy donor somewhere in the country who might be interested in donating to many congressional races, but considered this sort of a secondary tier one, now they're not going to hit up against that limit. So as long as they've got the money to spend, they can donate that $2,600 to this race. That's the first way. The second way is that political party committees may also get more donations from these sort of wealthy individuals, and that'll give them more money to in turn spend supporting, on the Democrat side, Scott Peters, and on the Republican side, Carl DeMaio.
So it could have an impact. It does seem, though, that the reaction appears to be split down party lines as to this ruling.
Yeah, that's right, and that's really sort of been the case on this issue. In general, Republicans tend to be more supportive of yesterday's Supreme Court decision. They generally tend to view this as a free speech issue, saying that money spent on political campaigns is political speech and protected by the First Amendment. Democrats, in general, tend to be a bit less sure of that and actually are more concerned about what they would view as the corrupting influence of money in politics.
In speaking of that, as far as this free speech link, it seems, though, that some critics are saying that, but the people who get free speech are basically able to buy it.
Well, yes, some critics say that this isn't so much an issue of protecting everyone's free speech right in the realm of politics, but it's really more so an issue of giving more speech to people who can afford it. If money is speech, then the people with the most money have the most speech, right?
Right, and I know you touched on this earlier, but this is just one of the many rulings that the justices have been voting on as far as campaign rules. Do you know a couple of others?
Sure. This really all started in 2010 with the Citizens United ruling. In that case, the Supreme Court struck down a decades-old ban on contributions from corporations and unions to political parties and spending money on speech. They said that that was unconstitutional, that money is speech, and that corporations and unions have the same free speech rights of individuals. That gave rise to super PACs, which can accept unlimited donations from corporations and unions and turn around and spend that money in campaigns, and this is sort of the next step.
Do you think we're expecting more changes as far as campaign funding down the road?
Well, the next thing that a lot of people are looking for is what will the Supreme Court do with that $2,600 limit per individual, per campaign. A lot of people think that's probably the next domino to fall in all of this.
All right, iNewsSource Joe Uriarty, thanks so much.
Thank you.